All right. So, welcome to the Midday Inspiration. I'm Tony Fleming. And let me move this off the screen here. Okay. So, I'm Tony Fleming. And today we have a number of topics that we're going to go over today for our Midday Inspiration. And hopefully, you share this with anybody you can share it with. Let them know that we are in the middle of it and about to make it happen. So, all right, here we go. One of the bullet points, let's say number one bullet point I want to talk about today is the voices that we hear inside our heads. And everybody has those voices. It's not a person on this earth that doesn't have that voice inside their head. Now, there are people who handle the voices differently, but you cannot let that voice, because the voice is really the inner critic. It's the old you. It's a person that's always coming with, what about this? And what about that? And you shouldn't be doing this. And you shouldn't be doing that. And most people listen to that voice all day long. I can promise you, if you're on this midday inspiration right now, it's a voice in your head telling you you shouldn't be on there. It's a voice in your head telling you you shouldn't be listening. Now, it's two things you can do with that voice. You can tell it to shut up, literally tell it to shut up. Or the second thing you can do is cover it up. And you can cover that voice up by affirmations and by thoughts, because it means no good to you whatsoever. And the successful people, the people that win in life, they learn how to mute the voice. They learn how to ignore that voice. They learn how to silence that voice, because the voice is going to keep on yakking. You know, some situations they call it the monkey mind. You know, some people call it the devil. Some people call it, you know, the old you. But it's a voice that's always chatting at you. It's a voice that, good day, Miss Frederick. It's a voice that's always in your head that's talking to you. I don't care who you are. You could be a pastor. You could be anybody that's living has that voice. And the key is, how do you handle that voice? Again, you can tell it to shut up. You can do affirmations. You can put thoughts on top of it. But the person who wins in life, becomes successful, they learn how to mute, ignore, or silence that voice. Because just say it to your mind that everything that voice says is not admissible in court. Just say it that way. Just understand it's not admissible in court. It's not facts. It's not. But here's the problem. If you keep listening to that voice all day long, while you're at work, when you come home, you know, the boss don't like you. That lady over there don't like you. You don't like her. They're not going to give you that job. They're not going to do this for you. That voice is always going to be there. And there's nothing that somebody can help you with. You have to do it. You have to silence that voice. You have to mute that voice. Because successful people do that. Hello, Ms. Coleman and Mr. Willie. Successful people do that. They just ignore it. You just talk back to it. I was doing something the other day and I just had to say, shut up, because it was coming. You know, why you doing that? That ain't going to help. You ain't going to continue to do this, that, you know, that kind of. And so I had to tell her to shut up. And then I put in my affirmations, or I start thinking, start visualizing on something. And literally, I would say 90% of people, maybe 95%, let that voice control them. That monkey mind talks to them all day long. It's talking to you right now. Saying, Mr. Willie, why are you on there? Why are you listening to that guy? Don't you have something else to do? And then when you start doing something else, and then it's going to say, well, that ain't going to work. Why don't you? That's the voice. It's there. It's in everybody's head. It's just that most people learn how to silence it. Well, not most people. Successful people learn how to silence it. Most people don't. Most of us will listen to that voice all day long and let it beat you up, and it lowers your self-esteem. It makes you doubt. It gives you worry. Google the voice if you want to check it out and find out what it is. Just Google and say, what is this inner voice that's in my head? And see what Mr. Google says. It's going to be along the same plane. It's going to be along the same thing that we're talking about. And again, the people who win, they just learn how to, oh, that's you again, and silence the voice or mute the voice and know that it's coming and still don't quit doing what you're doing. Normally, what most people do is quit. They stop doing what they should be doing because the voice talked them out of it. That thing in your head, just think about it. Who is that? Where is this sound coming from? Where do you think it's coming from? Because it's there. There's nobody on this chat can say, I don't have those voices. I don't have that talking to me. I don't have that. No, it's there. How you doing, Miss Brown? It's there. So understand, the people who win has to silence that voice, have to mute that voice. And the best way to do that is work on yourself. Back to the books. Back to the books. If you're not reading, I had a young lady I was talking to yesterday, and I just met her on some business. We were talking business. Miss Desiree, we were talking business, and she started telling me that some of the guys that she was dating, she says, I can't do it. I said, why? She said, they don't read. She said, I can't talk to them about some of the books I'm reading and some of the things I'm doing. They don't read. And she's like, I can't do it. And it ain't just men. It's a lot of ladies not reading. It's just, you have to decide who you're going to be around and you have to grow and develop yourself. I mean, think about it. If you were the person that you needed to be to get where you wanted to go, if you were that person, then you would already be there. I'm going to say it again. If you were the person that can get you where you want to go, and you that person that's already that person, you already got everything. You got the skills, you got all that. You got, I don't need no personal development. I don't need to read books. I don't need to do any of that stuff. Then you will already be at the finish line where you wanted to go. You'll be there, right? If you got all the tools you needed, if you're already successful, you got to constantly work on yourself every day, because the inner voice is not going away, but as you get better, you can silence it more. You can mute it more. You can ignore it more. But you can't ignore it until you start getting better, until you start having new thoughts come into your mind. Instead, you start reading different books. And the last 2 days, and I talk about books all the time, but the two people I talked to this other guy, and I talked to this young lady yesterday who I just met, and we were talking about business. She brought up books. And see, the challenge is, look at your circle. Look at the 5 people you talk to the most. You might say, well, I don't talk to anybody. You still got, out of that, you still got 5 people. Whether you talk to them once a month, it's 5 people that you're closest to. Are any of them talking about reading? Are any of them talking about books? Are any of them talking about books? Are any of them talking about developing themselves or getting into a new environment in? You know, are any of them talking about that? Let me see what I got here. And see, here's the thing. Most of the time, it's not the things you need to learn by reading books and hearing different perspectives. It's the things you need to unlearn. You need to unlearn and then relearn again. So it ain't about, something you need to learn. You have learned a whole lot. But that stuff, some of that stuff need to be unlearned. It's not taking you where you want to go. It's not the information you need to be successful. It's the information that was fed to you so that you can be their person, you can be their worker, you can be their whatever they needed you to do. That's the information they gave you to do that. Now, what you want to do and what you're trying to do in life, a lot of that information, you need to unlearn that stuff and add new stuff. It's called it's called unlearn and learn again. Well, if you look at it, truly it's called learn, unlearn, and relearn. Because you're going to learn it early in the game. They're going to get you at that early childhood. The school system is going to get you, and they're trying to get you earlier than that. So they're going to teach you stuff that you're going to have to unlearn, and then you're going to have to relearn. But here's the challenge. If in the environment where you're learning, parents, pastor, teachers, and all that, if they're not telling you that you're going to have to unlearn this stuff, which they're not because they're teaching it to you, when it's time to unlearn, you don't think you need to unlearn. Man, this thing it's a racket. This thing is a system that they have us in. I always say capitalism won't tell you the rules, but if you figure it out, then they'll let you go through. But they're not going to break down the real deal and tell you the real deal. Now you go figure it out, then hey. Because we were born to win and programmed to lose. Born to win and programmed to lose. And so in order to win, like we were born to win, we're going to have to deprogram and reprogram. And the key is this. This is the frustrated part about it. We're going to have to know we need to do that. Because if we don't know we need to do that, then, if, let's say what I'm saying to you guys is I'm the only place you hear this, then it ain't going to stick. If I'm the only person or the only place that you hear what I'm talking about, it's not going to stick. You got to hear this from some other friends of yours that you're around. You have to hear this from books. You got to hear this from audios. Because you can't just hear it from me and then go hear other things that doesn't relate to this. Then I'm going to be the fool. See, Tony, the only fool talking about that. Ain't nobody listening to that. I remember I was watching the thing in the summer where the NFL, where they go film one of the teams for the summer. I think it's on HBO. And they was in Dallas with the Cowboys. And I remember one of the coaches telling the linebacker, he said, if what we're teaching or what I'm teaching to the team, if the team don't hear it anywhere else, they're not going to do it. Which means he was saying to the linebacker, you got to teach it. You got to say it. And not only do you have to say it, you got to get other members on the team saying it. And when you get other members on the team saying it, now everybody is in cahoots. Everybody knows that this is how we should do it. But if I'm the only one saying this as a coach, and you, the captain of the defense, are not saying it, and you don't have anybody else saying it, then I sound crazy. Same thing with here. If I'm on here saying this, and it might make sense to you right now, because you're on here, but once you get off and the day starts to move, it's 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock, rock, 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock, and nowhere in that environment that you in, nobody you talk to, nobody in that circle is saying something like what I just said, or discussing something about that, or giving you some thought-provoking information to think about, then I'm sounding like the fool. Ain't nobody saying that but Tony. That's why you have to, if you don't have friends that's talking this talk, then you got to separate from them people. Remember I told you, my friends became books. All my friends became books. I didn't worry about whether, Leroy and Lil John and Doug and all them that I separated from. I didn't worry about whether I was around them because they wasn't talking this. So if they wasn't talking this, I can't be around them when I'm learning this. See, we see people who get on this today, or maybe go to YouTube and watch a video, or go watch a Bob Proctor, or go watch something, and they're like, yeah, I got my personal development. It ain't gonna stick. The only way it sticks is that you're in an environment where you hearing it again and again and again, meaning that you gotta separate and just read and listen to audios and don't be around some of the knuckleheads that you. Because you have to unlearn and relearn. The books give you that different perspective that you need to hear. It gives you the words that you need to hear. And then as you start hearing these things and reading these things on a daily basis, then you start believing you worth it. And once you start believing you worth it, as they say, is on like popcorn. When you start feeling like you worthy of it, you start feeling like you worthy of success. You start feeling like you, and the way you do that is change the environment. Watch today. Watch today after this, when you're going about your business, see how many people you're around that are talking this kind of information, physically around them, that you can ask them a question about a book, or you ask them about something and y'all can have a general conversation. See how many people you have like that. And if you don't, hour a day, keep the fools away. You create your own environment. Yep. Oil and water don't mix, man. Oil and water will not mix. Nope. Even though we tried. Yeah, we tried, but so that's my inspiration for the day. The midday inspiration. I think you can go back and listen to this. I think it's saved somewhere. But yeah, take note today and see what you're hearing from other people and seeing what you're around. Hey, see what you're watching. What you watching on TV, what you watching, all that's the environment. That's the environment, folks. And look, I appreciate everybody that was on today. Miss Brown, Miss Desiree, Mr. Willie. I thought I saw Miss Fredericks on here one time. She probably logged on and I ain't gonna see it. Tell her I said hello. I can't do I do the pen and pencil on here? Nope. Man, I'll see y'all next Wednesday. It's normally 12 o'clock, but I was a little late today, so it's 12:30. But see at the bottom of the screen, go join the Wealth Lounge, the BYOB movement. All right. We're going to end the stream today. So you all have a great, fantastic Wednesday. Wait a minute. Okay, all she wrote, pen, pencil broke.